Welcome to a very special edition of the Jake'Stake with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of Jakestake.com. And also just guys, before we get started on this video or in this podcast, if you're listening to it, subscribe, please. And then please like the video and 5-star the podcast, please. I'm so thrilled because our dear friend of the podcast, Drew Angelman of Angelcake Entertainment is here. And we are here to break down Big Brother 22 and also preview Challenge 36. Drew, it's good to see you again.
Yes, it's a great to be back. Thank you for having me back. I'm going to let you know right now, this is the last time I'm talking about Big Brother 22. So this is exclusive. It's done. It's over. Once we hit end record on this, I am done and looking forward to Challenge 36 and every reality TV show from here on out.
All right. So before we get started into BB22, what have you been up to since the last time we spoke?
Since the ending of Challenge Total Madness, I've just been working really hard on videos, more and more videos on my YouTube channel, Angelcake Entertainment. I've been putting out a lot of Mount Lavin's top 10 challenge videos and doing challenge rewatches on there for free agents. And along with doing review and recaps for Big Brother 22, this was the first season I went through the whole season doing review and recaps of every single episode, besides the clip show that they did with the final 3. And let me tell you right now, that was a journey, a 3-month journey of 36 videos, 3 videos a week. It was tough at times, but it was fun. It was a learning experience for sure.
All right, now let's dive into Big Brother 22. So what were some of the similarities that you saw covering the season versus the challenge?
Okay, so from doing challenge recap videos and review videos, I had kind of like the familiarity of doing time-sensitive content. And when I say that, it's like once this episode airs, you got to put out the video as soon as possible. Some people do it mere hours. They stream it right afterwards. I do the next day because I like to rewatch the episode, pick out things that I didn't necessarily get on the first rewatch. So luckily, I had that familiarity and similarity with the time sensitive of the videos. With it being all-stars, I knew everybody and their histories, which is easy with the challenge because majority of the cast is returning vets, which was awesome. So that's what helped also push me through this season is having it be all-stars. The difference is the sheer volume of episodes, 37 episodes and 3 episodes a week. It was tough at times to really do your, especially when they changed the episode from Sunday to Monday. That kind of threw my scheduling off for videos. And the fan bases. The fan bases are completely different from the challenge to Big Brother. There's some fair-weathered friends. There's some trolls in both. But I think Big Brother, because it's on basic cable and it's so much more like watched by all different age groups, everything. The fan bases were just completely different than, say, the challenge, which has a lot, I want to say like a cult following where the people love these players. They've been following them for years and seasons and seasons. So it's just, I think that was the major difference.
All righty. So Cody Calafieri joined Dan Giesling and Tamar Braxton in the U.S. Unanimous Winner Circle Club after beating Enzo on Wednesday, October 28th. In your humble opinion, how did Cody do as a winner?
I think looking at the final 3, and especially the final 2, I think hands down Cody played the best overall game. I think it should have been unanimous, especially after the way Enzo was answering questions. The final jury speech, that was really, I think, really, really rough when he got up and started walking around. You could tell it was just Enzo. I mean, he was just being Enzo. He didn't really, I don't think, felt like he was going to make it to the final 2, especially after his performances in part 1 and part 2 of the final HOH competition. So coming in, I was like, he's probably going to just like fall apart in some of these questions. He did. I mean, he Enzo'd it up, but I think Cody was able to string along a couple of sentences, was able to point out specifics in his game that really got him here. And I think being an all-star cast, I think a lot of people were looking at the gameplay more than, say, their feelings about the players. I think if this was at all a bitter jury, Enzo would have gotten at least a good amount of votes, I think, because I think Enzo was just liked more than Cody by majority. But because it was an all-star cast, I think they were more apt to vote based on gameplay than say, oh, I just like this person more, or they made me feel better than this other person did once when I was actually in the house. Granted, there's asterisks all over this this whole season because of the pre-game alliance talks, everybody coming in, knowing each other. A lot of people want to say that Cody was handed this win pretty much on a silver platter from day one. I can see where they're coming from, but I mean, when you come down to it, he won 4 HOHs, 5 if you include the final HOH comp, won 4 veto comps, and had a billion alliances that didn't blow up in his face. I think that when you put it like that, I think he did win. I think he did play the best game, and he deserves to get 9-0 win.
Totally agree. And I kind of wish that CBS would also recognize Tamar and included her as well, because that's a big blow to a lot of Big Brother fans, because she's the first first Black woman to ever win Big Brother.
Yes, I agree. And I caught a little bit of flack in my comment section because I didn't do my research. That was on me. I just kind of took what Julie Chen Moonves said as her word when she said the only other time it happened was in Big Brother 10. And I kind of just had that in my mind, like, oh, I watched Celebrity Big Brother 2. I love Tamar. She played a great game. She deserved to win unanimously. And I felt really bad when I went back over to the comment section and people were mentioning that she did win unanimously and that I mistakenly forgot about it. I hate that they don't talk about the spinoffs because it's actually better quality than we have been getting in these Big Brother seasons, is these Celebrity Big Brother seasons. So I felt really bad for getting that.
Absolutely. And I kind of wish that we did have a few celebrities in this house, especially like Omarosa and James, Maslow, Ross, and then also maybe Tom Green to mix it up. That would have been a perfect to have them in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, so if Cody, Enzo, or Nicole Frenzel were not in the final 3, who would have been your dream final 3 and why?
So just going off of my personal opinion, not how they played the game and who played the better game all the way down. Going into the season, I was actually really wanting to see Janelle, Devon, and Kaser as the final 3. If I had it any other way, I would love them to be the final 3. To me, I love Janelle and Kaser since their first season on Big Brother 6. Then I rewatched Big Brother 7 All-Stars once I got CBS All Access. I love Janelle. I think that I really wanted to see her get past that 3rd place. We haven't seen her since Big Brother 14 as a coach and then as a player since 2012. And she didn't have her finest hour or her finest season that time. I really wanted to get her to the final 2. And she probably would have won because of her reputation, and people were talking about how she's probably one of the best players, Big Brother players that never won. Kaser, I just loved him. I loved what he brought to the show. I love his analytical brain, and I want to see him more on my TV, like as a either pre-game host or a post-show host or a web series host for Big Brother. I really loved his in the segment of the pre-5, the first 5 evicted. I thought he did really well in that light. And then Devon is just Devon. I love her. I loved her on Big Brother. I loved her on The Challenge. And I really wanted to see her go far into the season and possibly get to the final 2. It just did not shake out that way. Like I said, with the pregame alliances and how everybody just grouped up like in day 2, I felt like she did. People were doing what they thought was right, which is not getting into alliances early, but come to find out that's exactly what this game of Big Brother is just jumping into alliances as soon as possible and then never letting go until you have to. So I just hated how it shook out, but I'm really happy that Devon won at least America's Favorite House Guest, getting that $25,000. And that just made my night. That made my night at the end where Julie was asking her, what are you going to do with the money? And then she just said, I just want to go home to my daughter. And I was like, that's it. Roll credits. It's over. The season is done. Let's just go home now.
All right. And Devon did make a history as being the first Black house guest to ever win America's Favorite House Guest. And a majority of Devon's campaign came from fan favorites from both Big Brother and The Challenge. Cast members were fellow house guests from Big Brother and The Challenge members as well. So in your humble opinion, how has Devon made an impact on both shows?
I think Devon has had an incredible impact on both the challenge and Big Brother. Not many Big Brother second evictees, which was where she was evicted the second person evicted on Big Brother 17. Not many get called back for more seasons, like in Big Brother 18, and then be considered an all-star and also be called to be on multiple seasons of the challenge. I think people just love her personality and just love her. When you see her talk or in the game, you don't think that that's a show. You don't feel like Enzo going into the diary room saying, oh, I want to flip this house on its head and do all this and do all that, and then go out and do nothing and do exactly what everybody wants you to do. I mean, when you see her on the show, in the live feeds, on the challenge, it's just her genuine, authentic self. And I think people can really relate to that. They really love the genuine authenticity of her. And they just want to be friends with her. And they just love her for her, which not a lot of people can say that. I mean, I know a ton of people from the challenge were watching Big Brother this year for the first time ever because of Bailey and because of Devon. And then there was people on my comment section that was saying that they gave up on the show once Devon left. I mean, she has that impact. She has that draw. And I think that, yeah, I loved her on the challenge and Big Brother. And I think it just shows that America's favorite house guest with over 1 million votes, it's hard to deny that she has that impact and that touch and that reach. And I think it's just being authentic in a game where people try to lie and be inauthentic. And then she just shows it and she's unapologetic for it. And she shouldn't be apologetic for it because she's fantastic and she's amazing and people love her.
Totally agree. So let's get started because we saw Big Brother legacies rose and fell. In your humble opinion, whose legacies improved or diminished? And if you had the opportunity to meet with house guests who have diminished legacies or legacies were diminished because of the season, what advice would you share with them in order for them to redeem themselves in the Big Brother fan base's eyes?
When thinking of legacies, especially with some of the players in this past season, it's tough. It's tough to think of what legacies they left in the first place. Kind of like, I know I'm saying Enzo's name a lot, but I don't think a lot of people were like, oh, Enzo was this main player from his Big Brother 12 and then coming in, he didn't really do a whole lot to either change his legacy in either options, I feel. I think one legacy in particular that I think not was like improved or diminished, but like was rejuvenated was, I think, Janelle. I think Janelle is this big figure in Big Brother, and people loved her in her seasons to where she kind of lay dormant for a little bit. Like her name would always come up with the Big Brother game. And I think once she was back on the show, she was getting into it with Nicole Franzel. She was just being herself, trying to play the game as best as she could, even though she has this big target on her back for being Janelle. I think that because she was on the show and she was just being exactly who we thought she would come back to be, that her brand and her legacy was rejuvenated. I think there's a ton of people that legacies or how they were looked upon in the public, I think a lot of them are diminished. I think Ian was a big one. He coming in as one of the only other previous winners, and to kind of lay an egg like that was really, really tough. I think who else do I have on here? I made a list here. I think Kaser and Devon actually helped their brand as well, their legacies on here. Here we go. Now we get to it. Kevin, I think, was lethal in his first season, and I think a lot of people were kind of upset with the way he played the game. Tyler, I think his legacy really went downhill, very, very much so. I think Nicole A came back way too soon after her last Big Brother season. I think she just looked like a fish out of water. I think she did deserve to be on there when looking at her resume, coming in third on a season like that, and as a fan favorite, and then coming into this season, I just think that she was just not ready for it. I think she was still in the mindset of her previous season.
And I love Nicole A to death. I really do. And it's just, it pains me seeing all these fans and even like Janelle and Ika Wong go after her like that. It's like, that's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, I think you get upset in the actual, like, it's tough because when you're sitting at home watching all the live feeds, watching the show, and you're like, that's clearly not what's happening. Why can't you just understand where Janelle is coming from? She saw people talking in the room. Like, Janelle's a fan favorite, so people are going to like have her back before they're going to have Nicole A., who prior to this season only had one other season, where Janelle had three seasons to really drum up the fan base, had some really good plays in those seasons. So it's tough because when you're at home, you're sitting there going like, just understand what Janelle's trying to say. Just believe her. Just love her. But in the meantime, when you're in the game, I know your head's just going everywhere, running around. You're trying to figure out who's telling you the actual truth. And it's tough. I mean, the committee was the committee. And if people couldn't understand or see them in the house with 6 people, hats off to him, because early on people were like, the house isn't divided. There's no alliances. And it's like, there's clearly alliances. Like, it was frustrating at the time, but when looking back on it, it's kind of like, I understand where people are coming from.
I'm surprised you did not mention Memphis, because the thing is, me, like beforehand, he was definitely he lost Dan, one of the greatest players of all time. But after his nastiness towards Nicole A., his nastiness towards David, and not to mention mocking even, I cannot stand him anymore.
I couldn't really stand him on Big Brother 10, so to me, his legacy wasn't much, but being dragged to the end by Dan. So to me, his legacy, I think his just personality was what done him in, and people don't want to even be around him. I remember the whole thing with the kissing gate, whether it actually happened with him in Christmas late in the game before he went to the jury house and his girlfriend was taking down Instagram pictures. To me, I didn't look at Memphis as this like great player that got to final 2. He didn't win a single HOH on his season. Keisha was really helping him out a lot through that whole season. Dan was helping him out, and then Dan got him to evict Keisha to take him to final 2 and win hands down unanimously. So to me, I didn't really hold Memphis that high in regards coming into the season. I even was like, really, Memphis? And then it kind of went the way I thought it would. I thought he would be the first one out, but he made an alliance that decided to keep him till the very end. Same with Christmas. I didn't really think that she did a whole lot in her first season. She broke her foot, and then Paul kind of kept her in the game because she couldn't really compete in any of the competitions because of her foot, and then just had Josh take her out at final 3. So to me, I don't think their legacies were that high to begin with coming into the season.
Danny Briones is a very interesting question about the way she looks, because the thing is, she planted a lot of seeds, and then not to mention there's been a lot of alleged drama between that she had disagreements with Davon, David, and Ian, and Kevin, and the jury house, and there was also a lot of stuff going on with being Senator Ian, and not to mention there's been alleged things with the fall of Janelle and with Nicole Franzel, allegedly. So I gotta say, Danny's legacy also took a hit.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, especially. See, this is the thing when you bring back cast members, when you don't do an all-star season since Big Brother 7, and then we're at Big Brother 22, and you're trying to mingle these cast members from Big Brother 8, Big Brother 6, Big Brother 10, with these other players that are from Big Brother 19, 16, and 17. It's like there's 2 different sides of the house, but it also skips the scale on the other side too, because they have so many people from the teens plus, and then so little players from the lower seasons. So I think it was just uneven and unbalanced. And then you just put them all in the jury house. They're all frustrated. They haven't seen their family members in forever. I think I saw Angela say it was like 106 total days that they were away from their family. Wow. That's a long time, and feuds are running. You're out of this game. You're frustrated that you're out of this game, and now you're having to sit here until the very end to vote somebody in as the winner, just so you can get back to your family once it's all over. So, yeah, Danny, I had higher hopes for, and she kind of just went along with everything until she was finally cut.
All righty, so let's get to the fun. Let's end this Big Brother thing. Let's put it to rest. On October 26th, before Cody was crowned winner, you made a video called 5 Ways to Fix Big Brother. For those of my audience who haven't watched it, can you please share them with them?
Okay. I'll do a little quick synopsis of each. The first one is shorten the season. Like I talked about with Davon and Bailey, a lot of the players coming into a lot of the audience members coming into the season were from the challenge who have never seen Big Brother before. And their one critique was how slow the season moves. And I think being a fan of Big Brother for so long that I watched from the beginning, that I was just like, this is how the game is played. This is how it has always been and will always be. And then hearing all the criticisms of how slow the game is, and then going to look at the Wikipedia page and seeing that it went from 75 days at one point to now 99 days. And it's like, what are we doing? Survivor is played with the same amount of people for 39 days. And the challenge is done in only a 2-month. Normally filming is like a 2-month period or so. And they have over double the players that come into Big Brother. So to me, I felt like the game moves a little bit quicker. Maybe they'll be apt to want to make stronger moves and bigger moves if the game was shortened a little bit. The house building comps, luxury comps, this season in particular that I can remember, the have not comp is done. Like, you just schoolyard pick once the new HOH is crowned to figure out who's going to be eating slop for the week. And if you're going to subtract the game, you have to add something back into it. And if you're not, there's not a ton of spots in the Big Brother game to work together besides making alliances with each other, except for the food comp that they have. So I felt like if you have some luxury comps, some house building comps, it doesn't have to be anything like cash or whatever, but it could be like a movie in the HOH room or something to that effect. Have a comp where random people will work together at different points in the game, and maybe they'll start liking each other or knowing how each other one plays, rather than just globbing into alliances on day one and then being, that's it forever. Strategic twists. I hated the BB basement. They pretty much just threw everybody in a room and was like, hopefully the right people get power, so this game will be flipped on its head. I watched Big Brother Canada 5, where Will found the hidden veto. Spoiler alert. Will found a hidden veto when they were cleaning the house, and he had to go through clues and find these different clues while pretending to clean. And he found a hidden door. He went all the way down a tunnel and found a hidden veto that he could use within 3-week period. And he used it, and it was amazing. It was great. And I remember coming into this season, there's a guy on YouTube called Tom who did a lot of these videos. He did a great job. He did a video of the house tour. And one of the tours, he was like, oh, this could be a secret door in a secret room. And I think a lot of people were like, that's awesome. That would be great. And come to find out, there was no secret door. There was no secret room. It was a safety suite and a Big Brother basement. And that was it. The other one is competitions overhaul. If you like your OTEVs, if you like your Zingbots, keep them, but there needs to be a change, because there are so many times where the same people won the same competitions over and over and over again. I really think to keep everyone on their toes, change up the competitions, make them different. Instead of physically endurance, make it mental endurance or something to that effect. And finally, casting. Casting is the main thing of why Big Brother has gone the way it has instead of being fun like it has in the earlier seasons. You got to find the right people, be diverse in all aspects. I'm talking about cultures, races, religions, ages, sexes, and genders. More representation from the LGBTQ plus community would be great. Instead of just one person or two people, it should be more. It should be more, because when you have different groups of people in the house, everybody is completely different. I think of Big Brother 2, there were so many people from so many different walks of life that it was really you had to lean back on your strategy and social games to make it far into those games and to connect with people, rather than saying, this person looks like me. We come from the same walk of life. We both come from California. We're both pretty, and we're just going to be number one and number two without even really talking to each other at all. It's like, have them actually be having to talk to people instead of just falling back on because, hey, we look alike and we sound alike type of thing.
All righty. Those are really good ideas. And I hope Big Brother is listening. So until next year, adios, Big Brother. So let's talk about the challenge. But moving forward, I have to make this claim. We have Drew and myself. Angelcake Entertainment and Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast are not affiliated with Viacom CBS and Burnham Murray Productions. And we've also received information from various challenge sources, including challenge insiders. So before we get to this section.
Yes, we are not affiliated whatsoever, but I am excited.
All right, so let's get started by the casting rumors. So have you been keeping touch of the casting rumors regarding Challenge 36? And if so, what are your thoughts on this cast?
So I did make a Challenge 36 casting quarantine video. I did talk about the early rumors and some of the people, but a lot of those people dropped out. Like there was a lot of people when I made that video, like the next day when I went in to actually film it, a lot of people were still dropping out and some people were being added in. So I don't know exactly everyone, like the official cast list of everyone that's going to be in it. But I have been trying to keep away from spoilers because the season has been going on and there's a lot of spoiler accounts on Twitter and Instagram. And I've found that I like to watch the season as it goes on, and I don't like to see who actually gets like dropped out or DQ'd or get eliminated by whom. I like to be surprised, but I'm happy to hear Leroy and Cam are back on this season together. They took Total Madness off, which was probably the right thing to do because Total Madness was like crazy with that bunker. So I'm happy to have them back. They're actually a couple in the Big Brother house, in the challenge house. So I'm very excited for that. I'm happy to hear some of the challenge vets from back in the day are back, like Darrell Taylor, 4-time challenge champ, is back after being done dirty in Dirty 30. And then as a mercenary in Vendettas. And then Teresa Jones, but we know her from her maiden name of Teresa Gonzalez. We haven't seen her back since Exes 2. She was always an underrated person, in my opinion. She was very physical, not so great political in the game, but I think having her back in is going to be fun and exciting. And then we have a huge cast of characters from rookies that are coming in from all different types of shows that I'm cautiously optimistic about. Some of these, I know there was a lot of like talks about people from America's Got Talent and that kind of thing. And why are we getting people from this show or that show? And it's like, why not just get all different types of people and we'll see who does great? Because back in the day in the challenge, it wasn't all action movies and winning competitions. You actually had to be likable. You actually had to work together to get very far and use a social game. Total Madness, I think, laid heavy into the action role and was just like, competition wins. If you win a competition, you're good. You're fine. You don't really have to make social moves if you don't want to. I kind of want to get back to the old way of people actually talking to each other and actually wanting to hang out with each other and make moves with each other rather than just winning competitions all the time.
I agree. And before we talk about the rookies, we got to say who do you think is missing and why or why not. Let me just tell you who I think is missing.
Okay.
I'm surprised and disappointed that both Paulie and Cara are gone for a second season in a row. They brought a lot of drama and they were very central for the War of the Worlds trilogy and the duology. And also, not to mention, Final Reckoning. I'm surprised that Johnny Bananas for the first time sat out. This was huge news. I gotta say, I'm surprised they haven't brought back Georgia or Theo and Joss, especially those were major players during the Final Reckoning to War of the Worlds 2. I think that I'm surprised that Derek Kaczynski still not, and Brad Fiorenza are both gone, and I'm also surprised that Veronica's not there as well, especially with Anissa and with Teresa there. And also I'm surprised that I'm also very surprised that Joss isn't there as well.
Yeah,
I think Joss would have been really good without Rogan there, and it would have been really good to see Sylvia as well. that's a missed opportunity. So who, in your humble opinion, who was missing and why, and are you happy they're not, and you're sad they're not there, or if you're happy if they aren't there?
Okay, so we see eye to eye in some of these. I think this season of the challenge is a little different than some of the other seasons just because of everything surrounding it. Like, I don't know how the traveling would have worked in some of the places that, like, say, Joss or Theo is coming from. I really wish Theo was back. I love him so much, and hearing he possibly could have been cleared to be in this season of the challenge would have been awesome. I do miss Joss. I really want him to get a win, especially since Rogan got a win, and I think Joss is a little bit better, if not just overall better. I like him better, at least. I think, like you mentioned, Bananas was a big one that I found to be not on the challenge season. It just seemed like he was a staple since he's been on the show since Rivals 2 to Total Madness. Like, he's been from season 24 through 35. That's 12 seasons in a row he's been on the show. Granted, he doesn't stay very long on some of those seasons, whether being the second one out or the third one out. But he just won. He just won his 7th. I think it's a good thing that he's taken this time off. And with hearing that he was not going to be on this season, I thought possibly maybe Cara and Paulie, or Cara would be back on the challenge season, knowing that he's not on there. There's been tension between them three. But yeah, I was kind of like, oh, they're not going to be on either. But it opens the door for more players to be, like, highlighted. Again, bringing back in Darrell, bringing in Teresa, and also a lot of the rookies that we were talking about will be able to shine a little bit more. Maybe they wanted to bring in more rookies than their normal lot of rookies, because sometimes it's only like 6 rookies that they bring in, and I think maybe they want to maybe show a little new faces, new gameplays, and maybe this is the start of a newer generation or era of the challenge that they're trying to, like, jumpstart with. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. Again, I'm cautiously optimistic. I was very excited and hyped for Total Madness, and then as the season progressed, you're kind of like, I was wavering a little bit, so I don't want to get too hyped going into this season and possibly seeing what could happen. But as long as there's not a bunker, I feel like I'll be happy.
Same with me. As long as they don't have a bunker, I'll be happy. If they have a red skull choice, I'll be happy. I know that's going to be very polarizing for me to say that, but that was really a good way to keep everyone entertained.
Yeah.
And then, all right, so and also I got to mention that Devin Walker, Devin Walker's making an appearance for the first time since Final Reckoning. I know that name's a very polarizing name in the challenge community, but however, it's going to be very interesting to see Devin without Bananas there.
Yeah, I want to know what his thing is going to be. What's his storyline going to be? Is he going to go for the win? Because in Final Reckoning, a lot of things were revolving around him and Bananas. Like the whole thing when Bananas brought up his father and everything that happened with Pastagate, and then in Vendettas when Devin wanted to go up against Bananas and send him home, and he did with the Light Bright challenge. So, I mean, the last 2 years that we saw of Devin, he was really going after Bananas hard. So I wonder what he's going to do this season. Who is he going to be going after? I don't know. I don't know what could happen.
And also, I know Hunter Barfield is a big name that's also missing, and I know that he has his opportunity with his son. But seeing Hunter having the opportunity to have him manipulate and be able to eliminate Ashley would be maybe even get a win and take the money would probably be so much better, because we haven't seen Hunter since War of the Worlds 1.
I'm not too sad not to see him back.
I know you. I forgot you're not a big fan of him. I forgot. All righty. So before we move on, I got to mention Tony Time still missing in action. Would be great to see him there. I'm surprised since now they have Anissa in and also Teresa. It would have been perfect to have Tori Hall in there and Veronica too. And same with Rachel.
Yeah, I would have loved to see Tori Hall in there. I think she's also been the one floating around with, like, we want OGs with the Mark Long stuff. And I think it just comes down to a lot of the OG challengers or people that started in the early challenge seasons, they got lives. They've been doing so much outside of the challenge game with jobs, with families. And I know Darrell was a big one that said that he would have came back for more of the challenge seasons, but the filming is grueling. It's so long that they're away from their families. And I know he's a huge family man, and he's just talked so much about how he didn't want to leave his family for that long. So that's why he hasn't come back for a while. I mean, it was Fresh Meat 2, and then he took the longest break ever to come back for Dirty 30. And then day 1, spoiler alert, Corey pointed at him and said, "You're out of here. You're going to the Redemption House." And it was like, we waited so long for him to just go to the Redemption House and not come back. It was so depressing. Darrell is so fun to watch, and he is such a competitor that I just wanted to see. Oh wait, no, he was back for Invasion of the Champs. Don't quote me on this. He was back for Invasion of the Champs. I'm sorry. He was there.
And I gotta say, now that Corey's on the same season, it's gonna get really interesting.
Yes. And I don't know. Corey turned a new role for me last year. I actually was super excited to see him play and make a final. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see them two in the house together. But
it could be another Nicole Franzel and Janelle. That could be that fireworks.
I don't know. Maybe they'll respect each other's game and know that they can get farther together than being oppositions. You never know. I heard Wes was also on this season, and him and Darrell have been having beef for the longest time. I think ever since the Ruins, or even earlier than that. So to me, that could be something to be keeping an eye out on.
Ever since Wes abandoned D in Kansas City, I'm not happy with him. And by the way, I really think they should. This is going to be controversial, but I really think D deserves another shot, maybe in a couple years down the road.
No, she made her bed. She has to lie in it, and MTV made a decision. And I'm glad they made a decision when they did. The editing was rough on Total Madness, but you know what? I'm not gonna shed any tears for Dee because she made the comments and she has to live with the consequences.
All right, so we disagree on that. So let's move on. All righty, so due to the various reasonings such as aging out and retirement and expulsion and not being invited back, the Challenge 36 has a lot more rookies from other shows such as America's Got Talent, the Titan Games, and WWE. Do you think these shows that Burham Murray Productions should be pulling for? Why or why not?
Why not? I mean, to me, why not? I mean, the MTV is so ridiculous, pun intended, with how their programming is, that back in the day, like in X's, they only pulled from shows from MTV. They only pulled from Road Rules, Real World, and then Are You the One? And they kept just from there. And as time went on, they kind of just play ridiculousness like 23 hours a day to where they have to go out somewhere else. That's why they went out and got Big Brother. This season, they're going to Survivor and more shows that they're pulling from, like Love Island. If they didn't pull more shows, we would have never got Turbo. We would have never gotten Jay. We wouldn't have got Theo or Joss. And so to me, why not cast a wider net? You never know who's going to resonate with the audience. You don't know who's going to surprise you. So to me, especially in these times where there's not a lot of programming going on or a lot of new stuff coming out, why not? Why not just cast a wide net? You never know what could happen. And if it's bad, then you just kind of pull away and say, we're not going to take from that show anymore. People don't like that show, kind of like The Bachelor, Bachelorette from War of the Worlds with Chase. And Shailene didn't get a good shakeout with the edits, but they also weren't highlighted a lot. But it was a tough season because there was a ton of competitors and a ton of personalities on War of the Worlds. So to me, I say, why not? Let's do it. I get why people were like cocking their head when they saw America's Got Talent, but to me, it's like, you never know. You never know.
And there's some really good people on America's Got Talent. I would recommend the Masadi brothers, the Bellow sisters. Mm-hmm. I also recommend Duo Transcend. They would be phenomenal with those guys. So there would be great. So anyway, let's start.
And Joseph Allen, I watched a ton of interviews with the kid. To me, I was like, this guy's great. Like he warmed my heart when I heard him sing. He warmed my heart when he was just talking about his stories. And I was like, how can you not root for him? Like, come on, seriously. Like, I would love to, I just want to have him on the show no matter what, whether he can walk up a speeding truck by putting out puzzle pieces with somebody else. I don't care. To me, it adds a difference in the show that we haven't gotten with, with taking from the same shows over and over and over again. So to me, I welcome it.
All righty, let's run down this interview. So recently, CBS All Access, and in the future it's going to be Paramount Plus, released older seasons of The Challenge. How have you used CBS All Access to your advantage in creating content?
I mean, this is now where I do majority of my research and getting clips for my videos. I mean, it's so nice that when I started making videos, people all over the place were asking in the comment section, whether to me or to other people watching the videos, where can I watch seasons of The Challenge? I want to just watch these seasons. And there was no real one place unless you were buying it from iTunes, you're buying episodes, you're buying seasons. The same with Amazon's MTV Hits. I don't know exactly how that works. But to me, I was like, once CBS All Access dropped and everyone, like the news spread like wildfire on all social media that you can get 11 through 31. Why not just put the rest of the 30s on there, please, CBS? 31 on CBS All Access, all in one place. I think it was like the next day or 2 days later after finding out that information, I was getting my subscription for $9.99 so I can watch all the stuff without commercials. And it's great. To me, it's great having all those shows at your fingertips and having like reading Wikipedia articles or reading the Challenge Fandom Wiki. And I can remember seeing it when I read it on the page, but going back and being able to watch Derek and Gauntlet 2 or seeing CT's first win in Rivals 2 and trying to figure out what the elimination exactly was. I mean, just being able to watch it firsthand easily in high definition in one place is amazing.
All right. Do you have any seasons that my audience should check out?
If you want to watch some great seasons, you can watch The Challenge Season 25 Free Agents. It's heralded as one of, if not the best Challenge season of all time. I'm currently doing a rewatch, review, and recap series on it on my channel. So if you've never seen it before, or if you've seen it before and you just want to hear some commentary after every episode, come join at Angelcake Entertainment. Personally, my favorite series are either the Rivals or the X's. I think with The Challenge, it's tough to just jump into a season because of how historical and all the vets are coming from each season. And these people's stories get intertwined more and more as they go through. Beefs are had in multiple seasons, and then they're resolved and working together in another season. And then they're back to hating each other, or they started dating each other and then they're stopped dating each other. I think if you're just jumping into it, you can get a lot of the history from the Rivals and the X's seasons because they show it so much throughout the seasons. So you don't have to watch 50 seasons or 50 episodes to understand where CT comes from or what's his relationship with DM or Bananas or anything. You kind of get all that when you're watching these seasons. So I would say Rivals 1 and 2 are spectacular. X's 1 and 2 are really, really good. And War of the Worlds, I know it's not on CBS All Access, but I will say it's one of my personal favorites. I'm still waiting for CBS All Access to put it up on there because it's a fantastic season. Why isn't it on there?
I agree. It's basically the best of the. Basically, you have the best of reality television coming to the challenge for the first time, and you have some real stars being born on there.
Yes, and I agree. And also, Fresh Meat 1 and 2 and The Duel, if you're looking for older seasons to rewatch, I think are fantastic seasons. We get the start of Wes and a lot of the older cast members that were kind of transitioning from being on the challenge before that and then out of that. And also the duel is just the first season of the challenge that was solo season. And it's really, really good.
All righty, Drew. Where can my audience connect with you?
On Instagram and Twitter at Drew Angelman, and then also on YouTube at Angelcake Entertainment.
All righty, guys. To download more episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Not to mention, Drew, this has been a big year for me. I've had the America's Got Talent winner, Brandon Leak. I've sat down with royalty and Survivor royalty such as Ethan Zahn and Big Brother legends like Rachel Riley and Jody Rollins. And also, guys, coming soon, I have a lot of American Ninja Warriors coming on to the podcast. So keep an eye on those. Once again, type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR with the podcast. And also, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Hey, Drew, just to let you know, if you want to catch all my articles and all my stuff, head to jakes-take.com. Once again, it's jakes-take.com. Drew, as always, you've been a friend to the podcast, friend to me, and I'm very blessed to know you. And guys, please help him get to 10,000 YouTube subscribers. He's getting so close, and it'd mean the world to me and to him if you guys subscribe to him, because he is one channel that you need to watch.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying all those kind words. Thank you for having me on here. This is a big honor. I think this is the only podcast that I'm been a reoccurring guest on. So I really, really appreciate it. And thank you.
Going to be a recurring guest no matter what happens, because we got to talk 36.
That is true. I cannot wait for this season. It just finished filming, so it should be coming up a couple months at least, at most.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great one, everybody. Until next time, enjoy yourselves.